All right, welcome everybody to Real Talk here on the Cowboy Slot channel. This is lucky episode number 7, October 15th. Welcome to everybody, and a special thanks to our moderators out there, Tammy, Susan, and Dave. Appreciate you guys being in here. If this is your first time to the channel, it's an open Q&A. You can ask any question you'd like. We'll try to get through as many questions as we possibly can, but oftentimes these streams do get very busy, so if we happen to miss your question, you can always ask it online anytime at ropethejackpot.com. So welcome everybody. We do have a kind of a big special announcement, which we just Mark wanted to come on here. We wanted to kind of clear the air a little bit and let you guys know that there is a big change that's coming to the Cowboy Slot channel, and Mark's here to talk a little bit about it. Mark came onto our channel. When was it, Mark? It was last year that you came on Cowboy
April or
Slots.
May, I think. Yeah, somewhere around
April or
there.
May.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, this is actually Mark's final day here at Cowboy Slots, and Mark's going to give a little bit of some closing statements and stuff, and we're going to wish Mark all the best on his future ventures. But go ahead, Mark, and
Okay.
let us know.
Sounds great. Well, it is with a heavy heart, guys, that I will be bowing out of Cowboy Slots for now. I'm going to be starting a new project on YouTube. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, to kind of go back to my passions. I have, all the best for Brantley and the channel, of course. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be on YouTube, and I may come back, do a guest appearance from here, here and there. But this is something that has kind of been in the back of my mind for the last couple of months, and it's time for me to execute this. And so it's very sad to see you guys. I've met a lot of fans here on Cowboy Slots, and you guys have been amazing. And again, like I said, it weighs heavy on my heart that I have to leave you guys at this point. But I got to always think of my health and myself and what I want to strive for whenever doing these types of things. And so, Dave and I are going to start something new. You can find me over at Dave's channel, of course. And once we get the new channel all wrapped up, we will let you guys know what that channel is going to be. It's going to be different from Cowboy Slots. We're going to tackle something a little different, but it's still going to be gambling related. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Dave's a little closer to me, and so it's going to be easier for us to do some tag teaming and stuff like that. But anyway, I wish Brantley the absolute best. You guys have been great. I've learned a lot over the last year and a half. Again, meeting all of you guys and doing these videos for you. So again, I'm not going to take any questions today. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. I'll still be around on the forums for at least a little while. So if you want to go post over there, I'll be happy to be over there. Otherwise, you can catch me on Dave's channel at Gamble the Globe on YouTube, and that's probably where I'll be, at least for now, until we get the new channel started. So again, thank you, Brantley, for letting me say what I needed to say here.
Of course.
And I wish you guys the best, absolute best. I'm going to miss you so much. I'm actually kind of tearing up a little bit. You guys have been great.
I think I speak for all of us when I say, Mark, we've really appreciated having you here on the channel. We've appreciated your knowledge. Again, this is something that Mark wants to do, and we fully support Mark, and we love Mark here on this channel. And Mark is he will still be around.
Absolutely.
But
not going anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. But Mark, it has been an absolute pleasure. We really have appreciated having you on the show for the past year or so. And we've loved having you part of the family, and you are welcome back anytime, anytime at all. So thank you very much, Mark. We really do appreciate you.
Of course. All right, guys. Well,
best of luck
for now. And good luck on the rest of the show, Brantley. All right, we'll see you guys.
Best of luck to you, Mark.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, everybody. So welcome to episode 7 of Real Talk. I'm here to go ahead and start taking your questions here. Let's see. We do have Gamble the Globe's actually in here. He was talking about partying out with Susan at 1 a.m. downtown. Had so much fun meeting you. I do apologize, guys, that I had to leave early. My mother-in-law was actually in the hospital, and she actually did pass the day after G2E. So that's why I had to leave. So I do apologize for not getting a chance to meet up with you guys there, but it sounds like you had a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to see any content that you guys post. All right. So, guys, go ahead, start lining up your questions. I'll take as many questions as we can. We'll go for about an hour here today. And then, like I said, if by chance I don't get to your questions, you're always free to ask it on our forums at ropethejackpot.com. And we also have Tammy and Susan in here as well, and Dave, that'll help out with questions and redirecting you. So, again, this is episode number 7. We'll go ahead and we will start taking those questions. All right. I know everybody's in here, talking about Mark. Mark will be deeply missed, absolutely. It's a natural part of business. People want to move on. They want to try their own things, and like we said, we support Mark at 100%. All right. Kevlar 509 says, have either of you played the Super Lucky Lotus 5-line by IGT, and if so, how volatile is it? Thanks. I actually have played it. That was one of the first slot games that I had played a long time ago. Pretty, it's pretty middle of the scale in terms of volatility. But it is a fun game. It is. That was actually one of the first ever 5-line games that I had played a long time ago, an older version of it. So it is a pretty fun game, pretty middle of the road in terms of volatility. All right. Kirk says, how often do you play in Deadwood? Are there any class 3 machines? I actually have never been to Deadwood, and I've actually been talking about possibly going up there to Deadwood sometime here in the near future, hopefully before the snow really starts to hit. So, which it's already snowing here in Wyoming. It's already been getting very cold. On my way to the Shoshoni Rose, we actually had a lot of snow along the route over there on South Pass. So, planning on making a trip up to Deadwood sometime soon, and I will absolutely let you guys know how that goes, or if I'm going to pop in there. But I've heard lots of good things about Deadwood, and I'm really excited to check it out and see it. And Judy, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. It is very sad, but she did go peacefully. So thank you very much for that. All right. And Curtis from Facebook, what is the best strategy for playing a Huff and More Puff game? Low warm-up bets and then bet higher, or just stay with the same bet for the start. Big thing about Huff and More Puff, it is a very fun game. We are not denying that it is a really fun game, but it is very, 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 very high in volatility and hard to get the bonus. So the biggest thing for Huff and More Puff is, play it for the entertainment factor. Play lower bets and stuff like that. Play for the entertainment factor. But if you really are trying to get those jackpots and stuff, just set yourself a really, really strong budget just to stick with it, because again, that can eat your money really, really, really quick. So best of luck on that Huff and More Puff. Again, very fun game. Absolutely very fun game. But super high in volatility. Nick Clark says, so lockboxes in carry on if you hit more than 10,000 on jackpot. Does TSA hassle you? Not TSA will not hassle you domestically. They won't. International is another story. So if you've got a locked box of cash and you're going international, then you're going to have problems. But if you're just going from like Ohio to Vegas, you're not going to have an issue. All right. Okay, going through. It will take me just a little bit longer to get through the questions, guys. So there are a lot of questions coming in here. So we do appreciate it, but just makes it a little difficult here. All right, Think Sweet LLC, welcome to the show. Does the must hit by progressive have to get closer to the must hit by amount in the penny denom? So how those must hit buys work, it's pretty self-explanatory. All it is the closer that it gets to that must hit by number, the better your chances are. So it's already preset in its mind about what it's going to hit at. So the number's already been determined. Every time those must hit by progressives hit, it picks a different number that it's going to hit at next time. That number can be anywhere. It can be, the low end, or it can be the starting amount, it can be the end amount, or it can be any amount in between. The closer you get up to that must hit by number, obviously the better the chances are going to be with that. All right. And Robin R says, went to Seven Feathers, played pinball, kept hearing your voice. Come on, pinball. Did double my money. Congratulations. Yeah, pinball is a super fun game. We have an awesome video coming out from the Shoshoni Rose involving pinball. Awesome video coming out within the next couple of days. So be looking for that. All right. And Michelle says, did you enjoy G2E? Is there something new you are looking forward to? Yes, actually. Thank you so much for reminding me. G2E was great. And I know JoJo's in here asking, what is G2E? It's just the Global Gaming Conference. It happens every single year in Las Vegas. It's where all the manufacturers get together and showcase all the new machines that are coming out. And this is actually what I wanted to make the episode about, Michelle. So thank you so much. But there is a huge change coming to the world of HHR. So if you have HHR machines in your state, like we do here in Wyoming, and I know Kentucky does, and all of that, major change coming, which we kind of alluded to this in a previous live show. But now we can really go into depth on it because it was actually fully shown at this year's G2E. And that is the fact that all of your favorite games. So before with HHR games, a lot of them are, different style games and stuff. You don't get those classic titles like Double Diamond, Triple Stars, Pinball, Top Dollar. You don't get those with G2E. However, or with HHR. However, coming to HHR now is all of those classic games. So I actually got to see and play the pinball version of HHR. Looks, feels, acts exactly like pinball, but that is now coming to HHR. So if you live in an HHR state with or a HHR area, you will also be able to now enjoy all of the same classic and fun games that we get to at Class 3 casinos. So be watching for that. I'm sure that's going to start rolling out soon within the next year or so. All right. And Okaran, $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Hope everyone's doing well. Hi, B. Hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. And $5 super chat here. My condolences, and also super bum out with Mark leaving. Hopefully, you guys still will collab from time to time. Absolutely, we will. We absolutely will, guys. It's not a, it's not an end all thing. There's no hard feelings or anything like that. All right. Michael says, why did you say in another video that Cherry's Jubilee was only at MGM Grand? Was it made exclusively for them? Yes, Cherry's Jubilee is only at MGM Grand in Las Vegas. You're not going to find it anywhere else because it was actually made just for them. So that's why we only focused it on MGM Grand in Las Vegas. So yes, it is only there. Good question. All right. And let's see here. Curtis says, "Am I just lucky, or is it a or is there a systematic to slots? It seems like every time I come up to a game, someone has left like 10 cents or 20 cents, and I put money in and hit a bonus rather quickly. So that hitting a bonus rather quickly is purely just coincidence. It can hit a bonus at any spin or anything like that. So no, there's no reasoning behind it. It's just coincidence. I know it seems sometimes like that, but it is just coincidence. All right. Barry says, can you ask the Rose to put in some regular top dollar or double top dollar and triple and such, more like those games? Yes. So I've been talking to them a little bit. They do. They really do listen there at the Shoshoni Rose. So they will probably be getting a bunch of new games in, and hopefully that makes the list. All right. Nick asks, what is HHR again? So HHR is historical horse racing. They look, feel, and act like slot machines, but every time you push the spin button, what it's doing is it's picking a random selection of horses to run a randomly selected historic horse race. And that's how it gets its randomness. Rather than using a random number generator like a slot machine does, it uses randomness in other ways. All right. Let's see here. Lot of questions coming in here, guys. Just give me a few moments. It might take me a little bit longer to get through all of the questions. So, and again, if we don't get to your question, we do have our website that you can always ask your questions on 24/7, which is ropethejackpot.com. We have a $20 super chat from Sue. Sue, thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Do casinos frown upon people having the money lockbox with them in the casinos? Thanks, Brantley. No, they do not. I've never heard of a casino giving anybody a hassle over lock boxes whatsoever. So you shouldn't have any issues with that at all. And Sherry has a good question here. Hi, Brantley. Was wondering if you could compare and contrast the Cherries Jubilee and the Majestic Lions. So the Majestic Lions are actually right next to the Cherries Jubilee at MGM Grand. They do look very similar. They're pretty close in volatility and such. However, the Cherries Jubilee does hit a lot more frequently. When I say a lot more frequently, it's significantly more frequent than than Majestic Lines. Majestic Lines, when compared to other games with progressives and bonuses, or not bonuses, but with progressives, they do hit more frequently. But compared to Cherry's Jubilee does hit a lot. So that's really just the main difference between those, is even though they do look kind of similar, and they do play similar and kind of have a similar payout style, yes, they do still have differences, and that's one of the main differences, is that Cherry's Jubilee still does pay out a lot more frequent than Majestic Lines does. And Logical Misery, do machines have individual RTP settings for every single bet level variation? No, they do not. There are some games out there that can, but it's very few and far between. Is it possible to let's see, to have I can't even pronounce that. RTP for minimum bet. So the thing is the RTP settings are set on the denomination level. There's not a specific setting for bet amounts within the same denomination. So if you set it on 10-cent denom, and then there you've got all the credit bet amounts and all of that, it's all going to be the same RTP no matter what the bet level is. The only time when it's different is if the game specifically says somewhere in the game rules that there are better odds if you bet higher credits. I know there's a couple of them. There's a couple Buffalo games out there that it'll say that on the screen, like, bet max for max chances or whatever. In that case, it's usually only a fraction of a percent, so nothing really to worry about. But no, machines are programmed at the denomination level, not the bet level. All right. And Nick has a good question. Somebody said that Cherry's Jubilee is going away. Is that true? Not to my knowledge. And we actually had a viewer that was at MGM recently, and she asked one of the slot managers there about, Cherry's Jubilee ever going away. And they said no, because so many people fly in and come in just for those games. Cherry's Jubilee has a very unique following. There's a lot of people that come to MGM Grand just for the Cherry's Jubilee. So MGM Grand is not going to risk getting rid of those by any means whatsoever, until obviously they break. I don't know if they would ever come out with a new version of Cherry's Jubilee. You never know. They possibly could one day. But no, Cherry's Jubilee is definitely around to stay. All right. Lotto Vegas, have they worked out the free play issues at the MGM properties, such as can you use your free play at MGM? Yes, you can absolutely use your free play at MGM. We had no issues whatsoever using free play at the MGM properties. So you can still use your free play. Everything still works, all of that. So no issues on that. The only thing I will say is when I did get to MGM, typically the free play is already loaded on your card as soon as you check in. Mine was not on there. I had to go to the rewards counter and they had to manually put it in. So that was the only difference. But other than that, once the free play was on the card, it worked just fine and just as normal. And Bobby Earl gifted 5 Cowboy Slots memberships. Thank you, Bobby. Really do appreciate that. We do have a special members only live stream that happens on Mondays. So that'll be tomorrow, also 7 p.m. Central. So if you guys are members out there, you can come in for a special live stream that happens on Mondays. So thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. All right. And Michael said, loves the show. You mentioned in a prior show about Washington State's bingo/tribal lottery. And are they considering a change to RNG? Do you happen to have any further information? I don't have any further information on it. Right now, they still use the lottery system and the bingo system. Washington State is very unique when it comes to gambling, for sure. We might have to come out with a special episode just about that, just for those of you that live in Washington State. But yes, they are still on the lottery system with that. All right. Let's see here. Gary Slots, hey Brantley, do you or does anyone know if the Cherry's Jubilee is nowhere else? Nowhere else whatsoever. You will only find Cherry's Jubilee at MGM Grand in Las Vegas. You will not find it anywhere else. It is very, very unique and special to MGM Grand in Las Vegas. So it is unfortunate, but if you are in Vegas, definitely want to go down to MGM Grand. At least pop in and try it. It never hurts. At least pop in and try it because it is very. They are very, very good machines. I will say that. There's so many times we've gone to MGM Grand to play Cherry's Jubilee, and we can go in with, $100, $200 and come out with, several thousand. I mean, I've hit that $5,000 progressive. Well, I hit it back to back one time, and then this last time in Vegas, we did well on those Cherries Jubilee. So you can do really, really well on those machines. All right. And Cummins 12V, does Pennsylvania have class 2 or 3 slots? That I am not sure. Those of you, this would be a great question for. Those would be a great question for our forums. We do have our forums that have state by state breakdowns, where you can actually talk to people in that state. So you can always ask on our forums on our website, which I will toss that up here, is ropethejackpot.com. That's a great question for the forums. Since I don't live in Pennsylvania, this is why we have the forums too. So that way you guys can talk to people that are actually in that area and can ask them. So yeah, definitely head over to those forums and ask the question. All right. Let's see here. And June says, "I am so sick of the darn buffalo symbols, and they seem to multiply in every new game." Yet Buffalo has taken on a lot of different variations. Out of every single slot game, I would have to say that Buffalo really, really has taken on a lot of different variations. It's absolutely crazy how many versions of Buffalo there are now out there. And Brenda from Facebook asks, "Are you ever coming to the Maryland area?" There's no plans for it right now, but that is always, I'm always looking for new places to go. So best thing is if you want to have Cowboy Slots come out to your casino, is to have them reach out on our website through our contact forum. The good person to talk to would be either the marketing director, slot director, any kind of a manager, anything like that. Just have them reach out to us and let them know that you would like us to come out. All right. Seattle Susie Q, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here. What's the denom you use, and where are these machines located in MGM Grand? So they're outside of the Grand Walk Noodle Bar, right there between Grand Walk and the High Limit Room. That's where they're located at. And denoms, there's 3 versions of Cherries Jubilee. There's a dollar denom, so it's $3 max bet to play, and you do have to get max to get those progressives. Then there's a $2 denom, $6 max bet to play, and then a $5 denom. They only have one $5 denom. It's $15 max bet to play. So that's the denoms that are available in Cherries Jubilee, and also where they are located. So if you do try them out, let us know. All right. And Robin, thank you very much. Reminding everyone, hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. It helps out the show. I really appreciate having all of you guys here in the show today. All right. And Gary Slot says, "Hey, Brantley, my last 2 hand pays were on the Diamond Lottery. I'm told the game is only in Florida. Any reason for that? Why? Thanks." There are some games out there that are property specific. It's very few and far between. Cherries Jubilee is one of them. Diamond Lottery I've never heard of, so it could be property specific. But other than that, there are some games out there that are just property specific. But that's awesome. Congratulations on that win. All right. And Amanda says, "Speaking of the Cherries Jubilee, were the machines busy when you were there? I'll be there later November, but staying at Cosmo. And so I went to plan." Typically, the Cherries Jubilee, it comes in waves. Sometimes they're really, really busy. Other times, not so much. When we were there, they weren't as busy as before, but sometimes, especially if you go later in the evening, they do get very, very busy. So just keep that in mind. You always have the same chance to hit on those, no matter what. So, you can go in the morning time or early afternoon. They'll probably be a little bit slower then. So you can get on to all of those Cherries Jubilee that you guys want to. All right. Let's see here. Good questions coming in, guys. Appreciate it. All right. And Joy says, "I played Thunder Cash. I got the bonus second spin and bonus in a bonus. After bonus was complete, I got another bonus in the first spin. First time I've ever had this happen. Thank you." Yes, that is very, very rare, but it does happen. I've had it happen on a few of the Ainsworth games, but it is very, very rare. Very difficult to get, very difficult to have happen. But yes, you absolutely can have that happen. So that's really awesome, Joy. Thank you so much for sharing that. And David here says he won a jackpot on Cherry's Jubilee at MGM Grand the day after he watched the video. Well, congratulations, David. That's awesome to hear. You know, it's always been the goal of Cowboy Slots to help educate you guys and also help, really help you guys every time you're at the casino and point out things that you might not normally see. Cherry's Jubilee is one of them. A lot of people walk right past it, because they look pretty dull and boring and old. A lot of people walk right past it, but a lot of people don't know that it's one of the best games to play. So I'm glad that you got to experience that, David. And thank you very much for your testimonial and for watching. All right. And Larry says, HHR machines, are you playing against other people in the game room? This is a good question. This kind of goes a little in depth. Typically, no, because the races aren't shared with the other games that are around you. You know, it could be depending on this is really kind of circumstantial for depending on the areas. I'd really have to look into it, but I'm going to go ahead and say no, because you're playing, your horses are going to be different from somebody else's. The race is going to be different from each machine. So I would say no, but they do still pull random races from the server. Obviously, it's not you versus the machine. It's you versus whatever race that the server is going to pull from. But as for playing against other people, I'm going to have to say no, but with a question mark. I'd have to look into that a little bit more. And we'll be doing some more stuff on HHR coming up here in the future, just because we do have a lot of new changes coming to the world of HHR. And honestly, really, in terms of gambling, HHR is really kind of where it's going to be at in the future. So hang around for that. More information to come. All right. Michael says, "What's your favorite new slot game not named Huff and Morepuff?" Favorite new slot game of mine? I'd have to think, because normally I just stick with what I like and what I know. There are some fun ones out there, but let me think on that, Michael, and I'll get back to you on that. Um, and Bully and Bear, yes, HHR is parimutuel betting. You are correct on that. All right. SP Cowboy, what's the volatility difference between pinball and top dollar high limit machines? Top dollar is going to be a little bit lower in volatility than pinball. You will get the bonus more frequently on top dollar as opposed to pinball. If you're comparing the two, you will get the bonus more frequently on top dollar, but the bonus offers will be less than what pinball is. So pinball is, pinball, when comparing those two, pinball would be the higher in volatility of those two. All right. And Joe has a question. Is it better to play a 10-cent minimum bet or 1 cent max bet, or does it matter? So if you're talking about denomination, denomination 10 cent would obviously be the best, but you also want to always account for your budget, what you're playing with, so on and so forth. If you're playing with a much lower budget, stick with 1 cent. But if you have a little bit more to spend, if you can afford doing the bets, go to the 10-cent denom on that. All right. Let's see here. The dude has a question here. Do casinos know when you use the ATM machine at the casino? Typically, no. Most ATM machines at a casino are actually not owned by the casino. They're actually owned by a third party, and they're ran by a third party. Most casino properties have that set up. Some of the bigger ones, obviously like Vegas on the Strip, they're going to own the actual units, the ATM units themselves. But typically speaking, the casino doesn't touch the ATMs usually. But again, it depends on the casino property. All right. And let's see here. So I learned from you the volatility of a 5-line quarter slot is lower. Does this concept carry over to other denominations? I was hoping to better understand why a 9-line is not even better. So when talking about volatility, volatility is always how the game itself is designed. So if you have, the denomination doesn't matter in the equation of volatility. Denomination doesn't matter. Volatility is all about the design of the game. If you were to compare like a 5-line to a 9-line double or triple diamond, the 9-line would be lower in volatility, but also it's going to pay more. Remember, volatility is you're going to get, more frequent wins, but less of a reward. So you would get more frequent wins, but you would get less of a reward with 9-line. Now, if you were comparing, saying, a 5-line double diamond to a 9-line, something like a 10 times pay, then, the game is different. So you have to account for that. So it's not denomination actually has nothing to do with volatility. It's just about how the actual game itself is designed and how the game itself is designed to play out and how it's programmed. So it really, really depends. It's a loaded question, but I hope that helps to answer that a little bit on that. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate it. All right. And Rick says, got my first ever room and meal comp in the mail from a Deadwood casino. I've played a lot more money than I did on my last visit, but this time I played the $1 slots, confirming what you said. Well, thank you very much, Rick. And I do have to get up to Deadwood. I've heard so many good things about it. I've thought about maybe even venturing out to Deadwood, maybe even later this month. It really will depend. So we will see. All right. Larry says he heard from a slot tech from an HHR machine that all bonuses already know what it's going to pay you, so it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter when you hit the button. You are correct. So, well, when you hit the button, it's going to run that. It's going to pull and run that horse race. The problem is you don't know what horses you have and what race it's pulling from. You just simply don't know. When you do get a bonus on an HHR game, however, the bonus itself is already predetermined, because remember, those HHR games, they're not running on a random number generator. So yes, the bonus is predetermined from whatever the result of that race was. So you hit the button, the horses run the race. If the horses win in a particular order and it say triggers a bonus, then what happens is it's going to give you the bonus result from whatever that race prize would have been. So you're actually doing horse betting on the back end. It's just displaying it as a slot machine in front of you. So if that makes sense. But yes, he's 100% correct. On HHR, the bonuses, the machine already knows what it's going to give you on any bonus. All right. Jojo says, is Shamrock a good quarter game? 9 quarter max bet. Shamrock is actually a really fun game. I've seen people have a lot of good luck in it. I've played it. It has a really, really fun bonus round. Would I say it's a good game? I would say it's one of the better games to play. I wouldn't say it makes the list for one of the best, but it's definitely one of the better games to play. I wouldn't mind sitting down and playing it, and I have played it before. Even during our road trip, I played it a little bit. So that's kind of my thoughts on the Shamrock quarter game. All right. Dark Oblivion. What is the rationale in a casino setting a machine to have a higher RTP on the higher denoms, or is it purely an incentivize bigger bet? So this one kind of goes down a rabbit hole, but a little bit, but it is a good question. There's less money coming through the high limit machines than there is on the floor. Not less as in, less amounts, but less as in a term of frequency. So the penny machines, for example, the penny machines are where everybody's going to flow to. That's where all of the money's going to go. So you got to think the casino's going to make more money off of those. The bulk of the floor is where the casino makes the bulk of their money. So on those penny machines, they can count on people coming in every single day, and those machines are constantly being cycled through, constantly being played. Whereas on the high limit machines, that's not the case. So the high limit machines has there's a lot less people that can afford to play them, so they don't get played as much. So the casino can afford to set it at a little bit higher of an RTP, knowing that they're not going to get played as much. Whereas on the penny machines, quarter machines, stuff like that, they can set the RTPs lower because there's going to be immensely greater numbers of people coming through and playing those machines. So they're going to make more money off of those than they would off of a higher limit machine. I hope that makes sense, but like I said, it's kind of down a rabbit hole a little bit. But I hope that helps to make sense for you. Good question, by the way. Really good question. All right. David H says, Brantley hoping the Rose will have an airport shuttle from the airport next year in the summer. So this is something that I actually did talk to them about, and there was a comment. It's always funny because every time we post a video from the Rose, a lot of people will come on and say, "There's nobody there. It's so quiet. Where is everybody?" Well, you guys have to understand, the entire population of the state of Wyoming, the entire state's population can fit it is actually smaller than a suburb of Phoenix, and that's our entire state's population. Then you take the fact that there's no interstate that runs anywhere near the casino, anywhere at all. The casino is in the dead middle of the state. It is a 2-lane road just to get in there. Then you couple that with the fact of, the snow has already started there this year. So it is very, very remote It is not near anything else. The closest airport to the Rose is going to be Riverton. So then you think, okay, well, there's an airport, there's Riverton. That's about 30 minutes away. There is no Uber, there is no Lyft, there are no rental cars, there is no shuttle. So if you fly in, you almost have to know somebody to come and pick you up, or you have to say try to get a ride to Casper to get a rental car. It's a lot of work to get there. So typically, typically at the Rose, there's a lot of locals. It's just usually local patrons that come in there, or during the summer and spring when people are going to Yellowstone, it's kind of the halfway point. So if you're driving from Colorado to Yellowstone National Park, the Rose is kind of that halfway point. So a lot of people like to stop there in the spring and summer. But it is very difficult to get to. And because of that, there's not a lot of people that go there. Again, there's no interstates, there's nothing around whatsoever. A lot of people barely even know it's there. So it is definitely worth the trip to go. But that is why a lot of times it is very quiet there. So I hope that helps to make sense. And if you do fly into Riverton, you just really have to prepare, try to get a rental car. If not, I always tell people, I say, make a whole trip of it. Fly into Denver and rent a car, and then drive up from Denver, Colorado. And then you can go from Denver to Deadwood, Deadwood to the Rose. You can do a lot of these things, excuse me, kind of in the same trip. So yes, that's uh, and Alan says get horses going for transportation to the Rose. I have talked to them, going back to that original question. I have talked to them about possibly doing something with the airport or trying to get a shuttle or something going. So hopefully something like that comes about in the future. You never know. We'll keep you posted. But no, it is a phenomenal casino, and I say that I say that with the fact that it's the best casino that I've been to, and I say that with truthfulness. I prefer going to the Rose that over any casino anywhere else. If you were to ask me and say, "Oh, well, do you want to go to Las Vegas for a week, or do you want to go to the Rose for a day?" I'd be like, "No, I'll go to the Rose. It's really is that good." All right. And let's see, heading to Pearl River Resorts and Choctaw tomorrow. Well, I suggest they invite you. Well, thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. All right. And Paul says, I live 2.5 hours from Lander and love going to the Shoshoni Rose. I also live about 2 hours away. Paul, let me know. Let me know what side you live on. I'm out by the Utah side, so but I'm about 2 hours away from Lander. Let's see. And Rick has a great point here. Wyoming's population is about 580,000 for the entire state. I'm pretty sure that includes prisoners. We live in Aladdin. Population is 15. There's actually less. Yeah, it's very, very sparsely populated, guys. It always cracks me up every time, we'll post a video from the Rose and somebody will say there's no people there. It's like, yeah, you've never been to Wyoming, have you? That's why I like it, because it's quiet. um and do they have rooms at the Rose? Yes, they have a beautiful hotel there at the Rose that you can stay at. It's very nice, very clean, very quiet. I absolutely loved it. Stayed there last night, left this morning. All right, let's see. Paul, oh, Matitsi. Okay, good to know, Paul. All right. And Tammy, thank you so much for putting up their website address. Really do appreciate that. All right. Just Mike says, are there other machines that operate in the same as Cherry's Jubilee for those of us not in Vegas for the MGM? Yes and no. Again, Cherry's Jubilee is very unique. It is very, very, very unique. Um, the closest you could possibly get would be like a Blazing Seven or a Sizzling Seven, but even that's not as close. Um, you know, Blazing Seven or Sizzling Seven does have a lot better chances, but Cherry's Jubilee is extremely unique in that sense of it hits every single it hits every single day, pretty much every single day. I've actually never even seen or heard of Cherry's Jubilee not hitting in a day. Whereas Blazing Seven or Sizzling Seven can go several days or longer without hitting. And is the Rose friendly to out of state people nervous about going back east? Uh, and Midwest. Of course they are. Absolutely. The Rose is very friendly. They're friendly to everybody. All right. So go ahead. Let's get some more of those questions. 509 of you in here. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming in. Gary has a question about Keno. Does Keno play the same as a Class 3 slot machine? So Keno is very unique. A lot of people ask about Keno, and people always want to know advice for Keno, strategies for Keno, and really there truly isn't any. Um, Keno is basically just a sped up version of the Powerball or the lottery. Um, that's all it is. It's going to pick random numbers, 10, 15, 20, whatever game version you're playing. It's going to pick those random numbers and you fill in your bubbles or you do a quick pick just like you would the lottery, just like you would the Powerball or Mega Millions. And however many numbers you get correlates to a prize. Keno pretty much plays the same everywhere. There's really nothing special about it. Kind of like video poker, in the sense of, pay for payback percentage on Keno. They can't change, they still has to draw the numbers at random, but they change what each number pays out when they do change payback percentage on that. So that is pretty much Keno in a nutshell. There's really no more details to go into Keno. There's not a special strategy or anything to use. You can't tell what numbers it's going to pick. It's just essentially a sped up version of the lottery, and that's all Keno is. That's one of the main reasons why we don't recommend it. But a lot of people, Keno has a very devout following. A lot of people love Keno, and they play Keno all the time. All right. And Kathy says, "Hey Brantley, how do you feel about the slot machines in Atlantic City?" Believe it or not, I've never been to Atlantic City ever. I still have yet to go out there. Um, it's on the list. Definitely is on the list of places to go. But I've never been to Atlantic City, so I can't comment on that. The slot machines are going to act the same, of course, and Atlantic City is pretty much going to have about the same selection as Vegas would, for machine selections. But as for how I feel about it, I don't know because I've never been to Atlantic City. Who knows? Maybe I'll have to make a trip out there. And let's see. Russell here says, "Could you do a video on the history of Cherry's Jubilee?" That's a good one. I'll have to look into that and see what we can come up with. All right. And JoJo says, "Is Black Diamond Quick Spin 675 quarter game okay, or should we play the dollar denomination of a different game?" So, when it comes to how much to spend, always, always, always keep in mind your own personal budget. We're never going to tell you, you have to spend more or anything like that. So focus on the budget, what you can to spend, and then make that determination. If you have if you've got the money, if it's in the budget, play the higher denom, but only if you've got it in the budget to play. Don't stress yourself or anything like that. All right. And let's see. Joe says 88 fortune slot pot. You pick 3 to win the bonus. Is that already predetermined? Yes, it is. It is already predetermined on that one. All right. Angela says, "How volatile is the older aristocrat games like Spring Carnival, Tiki Torch, and Sun and Moon ones with $5 max bet?" So typically speaking, I mean, not all older games are going to be low in volatility. There are some older games out there that are high in volatility, so always be careful with that. But in terms of some of these games that have since been reinvented and come out with various versions, like Buffalo, for example, the original Buffalo is a lot lower in volatility than the newer Buffaloes. The reason being is because as it's progressed and as they've changed the game, they've added a lot more features to it, different bonuses, different ways to get the bonus, different crazy features, stuff like that. So a lot of times those older games, the older games are going to naturally be lower in volatility because they don't have all of that added additional stuff on there, if that helps. But it really, again, it's very game specific. So I know you gave a list of games, but we'd have to really go through and look at each individual game to make a determination on that. So thank you very much for your question, though. Really do appreciate it. All right. And the dude, in the future, will you do more on video poker? So here's the thing about video poker. I've always said this: video poker is, of all the games in the casino, if you like to play machines, excluding table games, if you like to play machines, video poker is going to be your best bet. If if you know proper strategy. Um, Video poker is one of the few games that does have an advantage. It does have a player advantage if you know proper strategy. The problem is video poker is not my wheelhouse. We've done a couple episodes where we've brought on people to talk about video poker. But that's one thing. I'm not going to give advice on something that I'm not comfortable giving advice on. Um, I- I've played video poker a few times. I play it for fun at the bar. I am in no way, shape, or form a video poker expert. So I don't want to give you guys advice on something that I am not fully knowledged in. So I hope that helps. Maybe in the future we'll have to bring on somebody that knows video poker really well and bring them onto the show. But thank you very much for that. Really do appreciate it. All right. And 1967 Camaro versus the world. Brantley, can you share which aristocrat games you more like than other aristocrat games? Or Ainsworth aristocrat. What other Ainsworth games? So honestly, I'm always going to have a passion for Thunder Cash, but Thunder Cash can be difficult sometimes. It's not always the best one to play. Actually, at the Rose yesterday, I was playing a lot more Mustang Money too. They're very very unique in the way. Even though Mustang Money is not my favorite Ainsworth game, it does trigger the bonus a lot more frequently than the rest of them do. Love the Enforcer. I've never been a fan of Eagle Bucks. That's just me. A lot of people like Eagle Bucks. I've never been a fan of it. And then also Ainsworth does make some other games that are not the must hit by progressives, like the Supercharged Sevens. I'm just not a fan of that game. Um, but those are kind of some of my likes versus dislikes on the Ainsworth side. All right. Let's see here. Have you ever been to MGM Detroit or Motor City casinos? Once. Long, long, long time ago. Long, long, long time ago. It's been a very long time. All right. And James, do you think Texas will ever have casinos in the future? If I could tell the future, I would be an absolute millionaire. Unfortunately, I can't tell the future. Things change all the time, especially in the world of politics. Things change all the time. And for a state to get casinos, especially a state as big as Texas that has such a divided political spectrum there on everything, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I know there's a strong push for it. We'll have to see if it comes to light, but you just never know. Never know on that. And Red Wolf says, "Love the Enforcer or the Enforcer." Yep, the Enforcer is a great game. I really do like it. It's one of my favorites. All right, let's see here. Vegas Matt collab about video poker would be amazing. Yeah, we'll have to. I've gotten a chance to talk to EJ, Vegas Matt's son. Great group of people over there. Again, love Vegas Matt. Super entertaining. I watch his channel a lot. He does a great job. Really, really fun channel to watch. I would absolutely invite him on the show. If they ever want to come on the show, I would absolutely invite them on the show. All right. Chris Land, what do you think about slots on a cruise ship? They are the exact same as normal slots. There's nothing special about cruise ship slot machines. Everybody thinks that there's big differences between cruise ship slots and land slots. There's not. They're the exact same. They're going to operate the exact same as if you were to go to any other casino and play them. All right. Jason says, I've used your techniques and came out ahead on a local casino. Thank you very much. Appreciate the testimonial, Jason. Congratulations on that. All right. Let's see. All right. TTNT Enterprise Eagle's Nest. Same thin. Please explain what or why I didn't so progressive when I went to the bonus. Not exactly understanding that question. If you want to kind of reword it a little bit, and we'll come back to it for you. All right. Deftones 22. Why do some three reel single line slots repay the bet back if all three reels come up as blank? Any reason for that? This is a good one. There are some games that do that. It's just an added feature. Red, white, and blue is one of those games where if you get three blanks, they will come back. It'll pay you for the win. It's part of the game. Some game themes are like that. It's not the slot machine itself, it's just the game theme. I know Red, White, and Blue is one of those that does that. And our airport slots the same. Yes, airport slots are going to be the exact same. Remember when considering payback percentage, because a lot of people, like to make all their determination based off of payback percentage of a slot machine. In the short term, when you are sitting there playing a slot machine, the payback percentage is not going to matter. The only time that payback percentage is really going to matter to you as the player is if you are playing at the casino consistently on a regular basis for a long period of time over X amount of years, X amount of months, stuff like that. If you're going to Vegas, say for example, you're like, oh, I don't want to play at the airport because the odds are lower or something like that. It's not going to affect you there. Again, you're not, odds on a slot machine return to player is a long-term setting. It's a long-term thing. So you don't have to worry about RTP or anything like that in a single session. It's not going to matter. So are the slots the same at the airport? Yes, they are. All right. Matt Vegas, Matt at Resorts World playing the NFL game was a nice person. Yes, he does seem like a very nice person. Absolutely. All right. DA, why are commercials popping up during your live stream? Because that's what YouTube does. There are commercials on YouTube, just like if you were watching a normal television show on your TV. All right. A few more months till I get to play Cherry's Jubilee. Let us know how it goes, Chris. Excited to hear. All right. Joe J, I'm going to try your method at Horseshoe Casino tomorrow. Hopefully, I get a hand pay, a $500 bankroll. Just don't know what machine to start with. So, with a $500 bankroll, again, start low, work your way up. Don't rush it. Nothing like that. Start out with $5 denom, you know. And Proud Monkey makes an excellent point. In terms of comps, you don't earn comps at the airport. So if you're just arriving to Vegas, save your money for an actual casino where you can earn comps and points. Thank you very much, Proud Monkey, for that. All right, we'll come back to this one here. I didn't win the Thunder Cash. I played $1 denom 10 lines, no bonus. Also tried 5 lines, 2 no bonus. Played $1, went into the bonus, 186. Does it pay on all lines in the bonus? So if I understand if I understand what you're asking, so the bonus is only going, no matter when you get the bonus, it's only going to count on whatever line you bet in terms of Thunder Cash. It doesn't change the lines or anything like that for the bonus. So if you are only betting one line, you're only going to qualify to win amounts on that one line. Thunder Cash, here's the thing. Thunder Cash is a great game. We absolutely love playing Thunder Cash, but it can be difficult to get the bonus. Absolutely. And I put over a grand in Thunder Cash must hit by Progressive is up to 95.25. So 95.25 is pretty much right in the middle. It can still go a long way. I mean, if you actually sit and do the calculation, it's like for every $10 you spend, it goes up like 1 penny. So it can take a long time to build up. So, never advantageous to chase those unless it's like 98, 99. Then it would be advantageous. But 95 probably would not push it too much on that. If you get it, great. But always set your budget, set your limit to walk away. That's going to be the most important thing. All right. And Jason says, do you prefer class 2 or 3 machines? They're different in their own way. Class 3 is nice because class 3 is you versus the machine. So you can look at the machine and you can tell things like its volatility, how big or small the pay table is, so on and so forth. And it's just you versus the machine. So there's a lot more techniques that you can do with class 3. Class 2, on the other hand, it's a little more of a crapshoot because you're not playing you versus the machine. You're basically playing bingo with everybody else around you and everybody else on the floor. The machine's just generating that bingo card, and you don't know what that server is going to pull ball-wise from the bingo server. However, the positive to Class 2 is you can win a lot higher amounts from the back end on a lower bet. So, for example, WinStar. We'll take WinStar for example. WinStar has a lot of class 2 bingo style red screen machines that are 25-cent denom. but they have prizes on those machines that are $100,000 plus, $200,000 plus, and that's because of the bingo game going on in the back end. You would never find, unless it is some wide area progressive at a property, or like, a Wheel of Fortune. Other than that, as a standalone class 3 slot machine, you would never find a 25-cent machine that could pay out that much. So there are differences in their own rights. Personally, for me, what I prefer class 3, just because I can look at the machine and I can get an idea of its volatility and get an idea of where I'm going with it. So that's my preference. That's what I prefer. But class 2 also does have its own positives from that. So I hope that helps to answer your question. All right. And also, Chris says, unfortunately, I haven't had any luck on the pinball machine at my local casino here in SoCal. Pinball, a lot of people, when we talk about volatility, this is the thing. There's a lot that goes into the equation of volatility. When you compare pinball to other games with bonus rounds, betting the same amount. So that would be like if you're playing, say, for example, $5 denom pinball at $15 a spin versus a Dragon Link where you're playing a 10-cent denom at $15 a spin, or a dollar denom at $15 a spin. So you're betting the same amount. But when comparing those two, pinball is going to be lower in volatility. However, when you compare pinball to, say, a double diamond or a triple stars or something like that, it's a lot higher in volatility. When you compare pinball to top dollar, it's about the same as volatility, but the pinball is a little bit higher in volatility. So, pinball still can go quite a long time without hitting a bonus. It does happen a lot on, pinball. We've gotten back-to-back bonuses, we've gotten first spin bonuses, all of that. It does happen, but you can also go a long time without getting the bonus on pinball. So it can be difficult sometimes. So just keep that in mind. All right. And thank you very much, Rod. Really do appreciate that. Really do. So thank you. And guys, if you're watching out there on Facebook, be sure to head over to YouTube and subscribe on YouTube, because that's where we have all of our full episodes. If you guys like stuff like this, we've done countless episodes all about all different types of slot machines. There's game recommendations. We have a special episode that breaks down all the differences. I know a lot of you guys out there asking about the bingo machines, class 2, stuff like that. We have whole videos on that. So be sure to check out our channel. And if you would, help us out and share that video content on your Facebook. It really does help us out a lot. All right. And let's see here. Deftones, when playing a must hit by machine, if the machine reaches the must hit by and no one playing the machine, will the first spin anyone take on the machine instantly trigger the jackpot? Well, the scenario that you're describing would be really rare to run into. If somebody ever, so you're basically, if it's a must hit by 10,000 and the current number is at 9,999.99. We'll say that in this example. First off, you'd very rarely see it ever get to that number. But second, somebody's going to be playing that game. Unless it would be very, very rare for somebody to walk away from that. But in this situation, in that exact example that I just said, would it instantly trigger? The answer would be yes, it would. All right. And we do have a super chat here, $10 from Gene. Gene, thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. First time you're here, love the channel. Can't wait for more. Well, we're excited to have you here, Gene. Thank you very much for your super chat and welcome. Please do ask your questions. We do this show every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Central. All right. And Shannon, thank you very much. Shannon from Facebook. Really do appreciate that. All right. Let's see here. Question here from Robert. My wife and I have been going to Vegas since 1980 and remember when those Cherries Jubilee machines at MGM were brand new and in a different location that they are today. They were originally specifically built for quick jackpots, and they would have daily contests along with among players, with an MC giving them prizes, giving prizes to the winners. That is really awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that. It's so cool to see those Cherries Jubilee are still there and they are still paying out jackpots. They're still doing exactly what they were built to do, and that's pay out jackpots. The thing is with the Cherries Jubilee, because a lot of people say, well, how does the casino make money if it's always paying out the jackpots? Well, it's actually a very, very smart concept, Because what are you going to do if somebody comes into the casino and you play Cherry's Jubilee and you win the Cherry's Jubilee jackpot of like $1,000? What's the first thing that you're going to do? You're going to go play another machine. Exactly. The casino knows that. So that's, it's a very, very smart move on their part. I wish more casinos would have games like Cherry's Jubilee. It would be awesome to see that. Let's see. And Bobby Earl says, remember that Monday is members only, a very relaxed atmosphere when you come in and ask your questions or relay your casino experience. See you there. Thank you very much, Bobby. Yes, Bobby gifted 5 memberships earlier. So for those of you 5 out there that got the free membership from Bobby, again, our Member Monday show is tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. We hope to see all of you members there. All right. And David, we did kind of touch on this a little bit. A lot of people have been asking this, especially in the comments on that video. What's the closest similarity? Closest similarity is going to be probably Blazing 7 or Sizzling 7, but it's not even really that close. Cherry's Jubilee is still going to hit a lot more than those other games would. Again, very, very unique Cherry's Jubilee is. So if you do happen to go to Las Vegas, definitely check out MGM Grand and definitely play those Cherry's Jubilee. All right. And let's see. Got to BGT. Hope I said that correctly. How volatile are the Scarab games or other games that you have wilds that appear in a set number of games? This is a good one. So the thing is, for starters, Scarab is a really, really fun game. And actually, there is a game out there that's like Scarab that I actually had so much fun on at the Rose. And I've done a video on this too, Mistress of Egypt, where it drops the pyramids down to become wild. Those are really, really fun games, but they are pretty high in volatility just because there's a lot going on. It is extremely hard to get the bonus on that game. Scarab, Mistress of Egypt, what is it? Pharaoh's Gold or something like that. Pharaoh's Fortune. Very, very difficult to get the bonus on those games, but they are very, very fun. You can do well on them. You don't always do well on them because they are higher in volatility, but I think they're fun games and I actually really do enjoy them. Scarab especially. Let's see here. And Philip from Facebook, how do you become a member? There is a link if you go onto the YouTube video on the YouTube channel. There is a link in the YouTube description for membership, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow is Member Monday. Silver Queen says, great job keeping up with all the questions, Brantley. Thank you very much, Silver Queen. Really do appreciate that. All right. And 1967 Camaro versus the World. What's your favorite aristocrat machine? I like Autumn Moon and Buffalo Link. That's a good one. Aristocrat machine. You know, as much as there's so many changes for it and as high in volatility as it is, I do like the Buffalo games. I think the Buffalo bonuses are fun. There's so many different types of Buffalo games out there. I do find them fun. But in terms of building up money or getting a jackpot or anything like that, definitely not one I would play. But for the fun factor, I would probably have to say Buffalo. All right. And this is one here from Kevlar 509. Is Double Diamond Deluxe really that much more volatile than Double Diamond? I've never seen a win on Double Diamond Deluxe. What gives? So really, in terms of volatility, they're going to be about the same. Double Diamond Deluxe is just going to be a pinch higher, but not by much. The volatility difference on those is really not going to be that big of a difference when comparing those two games. Let's see here. So I hope that helps to answer that question. And Tony Jazz says, can a machine pay out more than any other to make the quota for the casino RTP percentage? So the casino does not have a quota or anything like that. Definitely a myth when it comes to casinos having a quota. The thing is the casinos are looking at the bigger picture. The machines are going to make them money no matter what game it is. They're gonna make money from it. When they look at the projections, they're not looking about how much money am I going to make off of this one player or these amount of players this afternoon. They're looking at the whole picture of over how many years. How many years am I going to make money? You know, you're running a sprint, whereas the casino's running a marathon, if that makes sense. Sometimes there are machines, you know, for example, Megabucks is a great example. It's a very, very high in volatility game. It could be operating, even though its RTP could be set to something like, 85, and that's what the RTP is set at. it could be operating very, very low for a long time. And then all of a sudden somebody hits that megabucks and it sends it way above and over 85, because again, it's a mathematical calculation. Um, but no, the casino does not have any particular quotas or anything like that, if that makes sense. All right. Go ahead and I'll take a couple more questions here and then we will round out the show. Gary Slot says, "Thank you, Brantley, for this channel. I have been a slot player for 5 years and I'm still learning things I never knew here." Well, thank you very much and welcome. Really do appreciate having you. All right. And Gene says, "Do casinos frown on couples using one card?" Typically, no. Always check with your casino because casinos do have very, very different policies on this. Some casinos will allow you to link your cards to your spouse or even friends or anything like that. Some casinos will allow you to link it. Other casinos can get very, very picky on that, about people sharing cards. So always check. That's the best thing to do, is always check anything Players Club related. You always want to check because Players Clubs are vastly different from property to property. Anyway, guys, let's see here. And I'll take just last two here. Do you know of any Cherries Jubilee? Nope. Cherries Jubilee is only at MGM Grand. Only will you find Cherries Jubilee at MGM Grand. Anyway, guys, if I did not get to your questions, we do have our website. It's ropethejackpot.com. You can actually not only chat with me, but you can chat with other people in your area that know your area and your particular casinos. If you're getting ready to travel to another state, this is a great resource. You can go on there and talk to people in that state, get an idea of what machines those casinos have, and so much more. Check it out. If I didn't get a chance to answer your question today, visit our website, ropethejackpot.com/chat. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for joining in tonight. Really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate all the super chats, all the super stickers, and all of the wonderful questions. Our next episode is going to be episode number 8. It'll be next Sunday. And again, as a reminder, for members, Member Monday is going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. As always, guys, best of luck to you. Take care, and I will see you again next episode.